Tom Evans again had bought more groceries than he actually needed. The fact was that he divorced his wife a year ago and still couldn't get used to the fact that purchases now need to be made only for one person. By the decision of the court, his son and daughter were now staying with their mother. This made the man very upset because he loved his children very much. When Tom was paying for the purchases, he saw one of the customers insulting an elderly man who was begging at the supermarket door. The old man's face seemed familiar to him, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him before. "I won't give you a penny. I'm not a charitable organization," the fat man shouted and pushed the old man. The old man could hardly stand on his feet. Tears welled up in his eyes. "Hey, mister, be polite or you'll have to deal with me," said Tom. Realizing that the young man was not joking, the fat man turned around and hurried to his car. "Are you okay?" Tom asked the old man solicitously. "Yes, thank you very much," the man answered, wiping his tears. "Let me drive you home," the young man offered. The old man happily agreed. It turned out that he lived in a small house on the outskirts of the city. Tom was surprised to see that it was clean and comfortable. On the way, Tom decided to share the groceries he had bought, so he entered the house with a large bag, immediately went to the kitchen and began to cook dinner. When they sat down at the table, Tom plucked up the courage to ask the man his name. "My name is Christian Bennett," said the old man. And then the young man remembered. Mr. Bennett was living next door to his grandmother's house, and as a child, Tom and his friends often played pranks on him, threw stones at his windows, and drew with crayons on the door of his home. "I'm Tom Evans. Do you remember me?" asked the young man. "Tom, of course I remember you. How sad that we have met under such circumstances," said Mr. Bennett. "How did you end up in Chicago? You lived in another city," asked Tom. "My daughter Julia sold my big house and bought me a small one in Chicago. She took the rest of the money for herself. I don't blame her. It was very difficult," Christian said sadly. "Now she wants to sell this house too and send me to a nursing home." "But that's not fair," the young man was indignant. "I don't mind living with people of my age," the old man replied sadly. "It's not right that your daughter makes such decisions for you," Tom said. However, the old man did not want to continue this topic. When it was time to say goodbye, Tom promised to visit Mr. Bennett every day. He was very ashamed of his behavior in childhood, and he felt very sorry for the old man and wanted to help him. In the mornings, Tom began to bring him food and fresh newspapers. Once, when he came home from work, he saw that his ex-wife's car was parked near his house. He was very happy when he saw that she had brought their children with her. Janet took him aside and said, "Tom, I'm pregnant with twins. My husband is a businessman, and he cannot manage in the same house with 4 children. Let Eric and Danny live with you now." Tom was very happy and immediately agreed. Now he had to take care not only for Mr. Bennett, but also for the children. Fortunately, Christian helped Tom and often stayed with Eric and Annie. One evening, when he came to Mr. Bennett, the old man was very sad. He said that his daughter had found a buyer for his house, so he would soon have to go to a nursing home. However, Tom had his own plan for this. The fact was that he had decided to purchase Mr. Bennett's house himself. He had been saving up for a new car for a long time, so he had some money, and it was enough to pay for the house. Having heard about this idea, the old man began to convince Tom not to do it, but in the end he agreed. Having received the money, the daughter finally left Christian Bennett in peace, and he continued to live in the house and help Tom with the children.